Okay, so let us intro in on the place you guys are now. Let's fit into the world a little bit if we can. So right now you guys are in southern. Just to give you an idea of the world, you're on a continent known as Faerun. It is a very massive continent. It goes in all different directions, but it is sort of defined by this thing, the Sword Coast, a massive coast lining the Sea of Swords. It goes for thousands of miles from south to north, all the way up to the cold reaches of the lands. But you guys are located right now in Baldur's Gate. You are very far south. Reaching the tip, getting there, but not there just yet. There's plenty more south to be had. But as far as the Sword Coast is considered, you are at the bottom. Right now, all of you are in Baldur's Gate. We are starting this adventure inside Baldur's Gate. The state of the world is something to note here right at the beginning. Let me grab my intro here so that I know what I'm saying with my words. Or word credit. Right? So, Baldur's Gate, cradled in a crook of the river Shionthar, and often swaddled in mist, Baldur's Gate clings tight to the granite bluffs that channel the river. Trade nursed, the city grew from Pirate's Port to Farmer's Fort to the bustling urban center it is today. Generations have worn smooth the cobbles of its narrow streets, and tens of thousands have lived their entire lives in the long shadows of its walls. The city's stone has soaked in the blood of acclaimed heroes and terrible villains. Alongside and atop such stains, nobles and commoners, rich and poor, have lazed and sweat, ruled and bled, and they've played out the stories of their lives, making Baldur's Gate a place of history and a home to legends. But history has changed. A lot of time has passed since a lot of horrible things have happened. But time has passed, and the gate has fallen on a peaceful era of late. Within the last 15 years, peace and prosperity have come to Baldur's Gate. With the newly instated Grand Duke Sigil Jackbrass at the helm, peace has stricken the realm. Through his rule, though his rule is considered tyrannical by his enemies, the Grand Duke's army of Flaming Fist mercenaries have earned the love of the people as their patrols protect all reaches of the southern lands of Faerun. Life has been, unfortunately, made difficult for the average adventurer or explorer or mercenary. Outside of conscription within the Flaming Fist, most freelance mercenary work has been banned entirely, or at the very least, heavily taxed by the Grand Duke. As Jackbrass and his Flaming Fist tighten their grip on the newly installed government of Baldur's Gate, the winds of fate begin to blow through the streets of this now stagnant, adventureless town. Let us see, together, who they've swept up within their wake. So, if you don't know the way the government of Baldur's Gate already works, some of you maybe haven't played the game or understand Baldur's Gate. Baldur's Gate is ruled by a council of dukes that was sort of installed by pirate lords a long time ago. But as the pirates became more complacent, more civilized, they became dukes themselves, and the self-proclaimed dukes. And Baldur's Gate has always been ruled by 4 dukes, a very, very equal and just kind of way of running the city, and the 4 dukes are always peeled from the 4 different classes in Baldur's Gate. You got your rich, you got your merchants, you got your middle class, and you got your dirt poor. And these 4 classes have always been represented as 4 dukes, but times are a little bit different. As Grand Duke Sigil Jackbrass took the helm, as a duke can always be appointed or sort of, yeah, a duke can always be appointed by the dukedom if all the dukes agree. Sigil Jackbrass, a prominent leader in the Flaming Fist, sort of rose to the top, became the leader of the Flaming Fist, and just political wizardry made his way into the Grand Duke's spot. So the Grand Duke has basically like 2 votes at the table. He breaks all the ties. He's got probably the most power. He's the head honcho. So he has recently been installed in power within the last 10 or so years, and as I described, times are going very well. Baldur's Gate is a merchant city. It is a port city. It lives and thrives on its trade. Many merchants are here, and some merchants are as rich as kings. They do so well here. But let me just tell you, the class divide here is hard. That middle class I mentioned is very minimal. It is, you are either a merchant, or you're rich as hell and you're a noble, or you are dirt poor. And you are not only separated by money, you are separated by walls. There are literally districts that go, this is the rich people, this is the poor people. This is the kind of town we are starting in. Now, you guys can be from Baldur's Gate. You can be from a place nearby. If you don't know sort of the world of Faerun around you, and I don't expect you to, I can fit you into a place pretty easily. But for the sake of time, I think that's something we can totally fill out later, unless you've already decided. Because I want you to just kind of feel your character and get into it, and then maybe later on, after level 1 or 2 or 3, you'll go, I think I want to be from this kind of place, and we'll fill that in. So, starting with, well, who wants to go first? Who's interested in going first? Because what I'm going to ask you right now is, I want to ask your background. I want to ask sort of if you're from Baldur's Gate, if there's a place in mind in your head that you think you want to be from. You don't have to know this map, like I said. You can just be like, I want to be from like a small village, and I'll cherry pick you one. I'm going to ask you those 2 things, and then I'm going to give you a hook. I'm going to give you a story hook that's going to pull you into this adventure, and it's going to connect you to a single character, and we will introduce him when we get to that. So who wants to go first? Anybody? Speak up.
I'll go. Oh no, Jacob go.
Well, both of you roll d20.
Oh no.
If you want, you can do /roll /roll 1d20, or you can actually there's a little roll app in the thing. All right, Dustin, first. So we see think of the character creation scene of a video game. We see sort of this scene behind us. We see the city streets, and we see people moving along, and the mist of Baldur's Gate kind of like pours by, and as it pours by, the camera just turns around, and we look right at Riok. It's Riok, right? Yeah. Right at Riok. What do we see when we first see Riok? That's the first thing I want to hear. What does he look like?
Riok, she? Yes. She is an Akokra. She is a bird, race of bird people.
Okay.
She slowly walks the street. The idea of people owning gigantic boulders with holes in them is foreign to her. She's probably just like walking around completely.
All the homes. Oh, okay. Yeah, she's looking around like a tourist. Her eyes kind of just staring up at the many buildings. Yeah. There's so many people here. Yeah, there's so many people in the streets of Baldur's Gate. It's quite packed.
It's a no-fly zone. They told her to shoot her down.
Installed by the Flaming Fist. This is a no-fly zone, and this is a military state. If that was a question, this is a military state right now. So excellent. What's Riok's background?
Riok is from a faraway place, a misty mountain, and she was sent by her elders to retrieve a relic.
Okay.
But lost by her people.
Oh. Okay, and she was set. Where exactly has she already like achieved that here? I imagine she must have at some point achieved that since this adventure is taking us away from this place. I'll make that clear.
The her holy symbol is the it's like a talon, like a golden talon from her people.
Okay, and you did manage to acquire that. Yeah. Was it difficult? Like was it a harrowing kind of thing for you to be able to get this? Was it something that took you a long time, or did it kind of fall into your lap? Like
no, it did not fall on her lap. I imagine because the concept of ownership is completely foreign to this race of bird people. That she almost got completely arrested for grand theft after seeing a multitude of things that she wanted to pick up and take.
That's awesome.
I want to say she met someone in the city, someone who shared her ridiculous level of optimism.
Okay.
And through trial and error, she found the item.
Yeah.
She trained further into becoming a cleric, and with
Did you find it in Baldur's Gate?
Yes, I want to say
that would make total sense because it could have easily been sold. It could have been thrown around. It could have gone to some of the darker like thieves guilds of this place. It could have gone a lot of different directions. So getting that back would have been an adventure in itself. But you're still sort of wowed and zowed by Baldur's Gate. I am then.
Yes, she does not like walking. She's very slow.
That's awesome. What's your background? What's your actual background name?
Background name? She is an acolyte. She through her travels, finding of going from her village, she's found a faith. She's found a god, and she's devoted into the worship. She wants to bring it to her people.
All right, excellent. So, I'm gonna hold you right there because I'm gonna come back to you on your hook. I'm gonna come back to everybody on their hook at the same time. That's my plan. So, Jacob, you were the last one to speak up. So I'm gonna move over to you. We see the camera shift away from Ryok. The mist kind of covers it again. We see a few merchants pass by, a few people, and as the crowd splits and the mist dissipates away, we see a turtle. Yeah. We see a kind of out of place, I imagine, a race among these many humans that are around you. Many humans, elves, and dwarves, the more common races. What do we see when we see War?
War walking through the crowd is kind of uneasy. He's larger than most of these people, and feels like he's constantly going to be bumping into things. So he's like trying to not like push into people too much. But the background that he has is in anthropology.
Is in anthropology?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
He's the anthropologist.
An anthropologist.
So
we actually have two anthropologists. That's awesome.
I want you to both, Dustin, enter your background into the chat, and Jacob do the same, just so that I can see them.
From the
just copy the name, just the name.
Oh, just the name.
Yeah, just the name. I will ask you just to dig in a little bit. How did War get to where he is right now in Baldur's Gate? What brings him here? Or is he from here? Or like he's definitely not from here.
So War spent some time with some lizard folk, and as part of his background, lived among them for a long time. So he's picked up some potentially unpleasant habits from that. Because they're very alien mind is one of the traits from them. So he's got used to thinking more like lizard folk than like other people. He would have probably come in on some kind of merchant caravan or something, traveling with them, not necessarily like paid by them. He just asked if he could travel with them, and
and you're just making your making your way through town right now. So as a let me see. You're an anthropologist. So you are I believe the anthropologist, you are very interested in like new cultures and new things. Yep. So like, yeah, travel is like your dealie. It's your shtick.
Yep.
Excellent. Yeah, and as a turtle race, you can actually be from a lot of different places. You're probably from the Isles. You're probably from the islands far away, but we don't got to get into that. That's not the important part of War's story, I imagine. Well, it can be if you want, but like, yeah, you are a traveler. So we see this strange traveler walking through. You look like a turtle. You walk like a turtle. You walk like a man. You get plenty of side stares for sure, but. I mean, Baldur's Gate isn't exactly a city that's unfamiliar with rare races, so the amount of hassle you get isn't quite as much as you'd think. It's more just stares and avoidance than actual confrontation that meets you too often. Curiosity.
And having traveled around, he's more used to that, but also at the same time, like, welcoming of it, because anthropology, he wants to, like, learn about all these cultures and stuff.
Yeah.
So he's trying not to piss people off.
Just a sec. What's this say? Alex is saying, right, I chose lizard, so I'm changing mine to cool. Oh, okay, good. There you go. That's cool. So I think you probably run into a few old ladies who are half blind who mistake you for a dragonborn. Once in a while, a really old one. So like, yeah, you could get that too. But yeah, beautiful. So that is why you're here. Excellent, and you've listed that. Is there anything else you'd like to note about War? The way he looks?
So he doesn't fit into most clothes, so he's like, just turtle self. He has, I don't know, a battle axe and a shield hanging off of him in various ways.
Yeah. Not unlike many other people who have weapons. Though within Baldur's Gate, it's rumored that the open carry law is probably going to get overturned soon, as Sigil Jackbrass tightens his grip more and more on the city. All right, so as we sort of turn from you walking down this main street, looking around curiously at all that's going on, the mist sort of pushes past you again, and the camera swooshes through the streets, through the mist, past many people walking, going about their day, selling goods. There's just talking of all kinds of dialects as we pass by, and I think our camera comes up on. I think it comes up on. I would like two rolls, two d20s, one from Alex, one from Josh. So to roll, you can just type in slash. Oh, that's gonna be hard to beat. You can type in slash roll. Oh yeah, you got it. All right. So yeah, the camera it moves through the mist, and we come up on Asteria Delos. What do we see when the mist parts? When we see Asteria Delos here, what does she look like? Maybe what she's doing.
She is completely at home in Baldur's Gate, since her home is not that far away from here.
Oh no, it's not. This is you probably come here plenty of times.
Yeah, and she's mostly up here because she is starting on her expedition.
Yes,
also
she is.
An anthropologist.
Yes, that's gonna be your hook. I'm gonna plug that in. Keep going though.
And so she is looking for her way to get to the location.
Yes. It's yes, the location. You're looking for a way to get to hashtag location. I love that. No, that's perfect. So yeah, this is the place to do that. This is Baldur's Gate. This is where you find expeditions to different places, going out deeper into either further south to test your courage, or east. You never know where you're gonna go. But Baldur's Gate is definitely the place for caravans. It would make sense why War's here. I love that.
She's also a little bit put off by the class differences here, since Candlekeep really doesn't have that.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
only really rich people there.
And you there's really only rich people there. That's true. You could be put off by that for sure. Baldur's Gate's always been kind of a city of classes, but it's it's not as if it's getting harder. It's probably getting better, at least with the peaceful times that Jackbrass is installing. But another note on Jackbrass, just because you're talking a little bit about the politics here. he is shady. Once he was installed as Grand Duke, other Grand Dukes were quickly voted out and new ones voted in. It was happening in rapid succession, and it was a little shady. Couple people probably turned a blind eye to it. Other people were, he has supporters and people against him, but that's something to note.
One thing about her, though, is she does have some random, completely rude gestures and mannerisms to her that she thinks are completely normal from her Candlekeep things.
Yeah.
Living in kobolds for a while on her undergrad assignment.
What does she look like? I mean, I know we have a portrait right here, which is gorgeous, but and we can get an idea of what she looks like. But is there any discerning detail about Asteria that we would notice as an audience?
Is rather unkept, though in a good way.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Old scholar.
Disheveled scholar. I like that a lot. That's perfect.
And is out of place in most cities she doesn't carry any weapons at all. She has got a little knife on her belt. That's about it.
Okay, that's awesome. Perfect. Put your background in the chat, which I believe is the anthropologist, which makes sense. All right. So Again, our camera moves, and at this point, I think the mist is completely cleared away, and some sun has managed to shine through, but only for a moment, and only to give kind of a stark contrast to some dark shadows, where I believe we see our fourth character of this story. We see Valfine. I cannot pronounce the last name. Valfine. How do you? Ariesis. We see Valfine Ariesis. So as sort of that sun comes out and there's that contrast between dark and light, and we can see Valfine, I imagine, in sort of, would we see her kind of in the, is she that kind of rogue, or would she be out in the streets?
Oh, definitely not out. Her background is a sage. She's been digging in books for most of her I wouldn't say most of her life. Maybe starting early teens, she got very curious about a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So, if anything, the light would be shining through the window as she pours over scrolls and films. And
our camera goes right through an open window.
Yeah, so I'd imagine she would be very at home in Baldur's Gate. Very old city, lots of libraries.
Oh yeah.
Monasteries with a lot of old texts and. Those sorts of things. So.
She's pouring through. Is that what brought her here to Baldur's Gate? Just for the time, initially, what brought you here to Baldur's Gate is just that vast hoard of knowledge that could be here.
Thirst for knowledge, yes, and I would imagine that was probably what brought her to the party too. Would be opportunity for.
Oh yeah. We're going to get to that hook, because your opportunity for more is coming around the corner. Because there are some hooks for the book, but they're not always going to work for everybody. That's why I want to hear kind of why you're here and what you're doing, and then we can kind of customize these hooks and draw your characters in and make them feel like they belong. So she's there for that vast amount of knowledge. What does she look like? I mean, what a description do we have? It doesn't have to be like everything, every little detail. Give me some key elements. What do we notice first when the camera sees her?
Outwardly, she looks athletic. I mean, obviously, she's a rogue. She's proficient in acrobatics and athletics, so she's very well kept. But you wouldn't think underneath. She's a bookworm digging for.
I like that.
Digging for the knowledge. So she's kind of an unsuspecting nerd, I suppose.
Okay.
You kind of walk up on that person that does all the sports, and you realize that hey.
Yeah.
They're not normal. They're actually they spend a lot of time at home.
Yeah, she's a bit of a homebody. Maybe she likes being in buildings or out a lot more than she does running outside. You're a sage. Throw that good sage in the chat. It'll go right next to your name, so I know what you are when we come across it for this hook. Kyle, how is the wizard coming?
It's coming along well.
Are you ready for this camera to move over to him?
Can I go last?
You are last.
I don't know. last?
Yeah, we went through everybody. You were last, friend.
Crap!
the camera pans over to a blank spot with dotted lines around it.
We tried, man. We tried to stall for you.
We tried to stall for you. Do you have an idea down? At least.
I don't even have a name.
You don't even have a name.
We'll work this out.
Do you want me to roll you a name right now?
No. I
so
got this.
More on Asteria's appearance, I guess.
Let's get more into what Asteria looks like. The camera zooms back. Look at Asteria. Let's check her out. Oh no, that's great. That's great. I can give you some more time, Kyle. I can. Do you need a little bit more?
Give me some more time.
I can give you like 5 minutes, 10 minutes.
That's fine. Any time you're willing to give me, I'll take it.
I'm going to be opening up a few more cans, so I want to make sure that you can still listen to what's being said here. Are you good?
Yes.
All right.
I want to point out.
Point out.
Might be a little funny. Can't tell what Ryok's gender is. It's a bird.
Okay.
Ryok's is a bird. And he's like, hey, baby. I'm like, I'm a bird.
That makes total sense. No, this is good. I love this. I do love this.
No, to change it up, it's got to be positive. No! I am a bird!
Oh, no, that's good. I love it. All right.
Okay.
So, to open up the next sort of part of this, it's going to call for a little bit of a music change. Actually, you know what? No, it's not. It's not. We're keeping the classic Baldur's Gate theme because this is information that is known to you. I gave you the sort of state of Baldur's Gate as it is right now. Most of the information I gave you has probably been well known, at least in the last 5 years. This is general information. I want to talk about now. I want to talk about what's happening right fucking now in Baldur's Gate. So, for the past several days, the talk of the streets and taverns have been only about one thing and one thing only. The so-called, so-named, death curse. Apparently, a wasting disease afflicting everyone who's ever been raised from the dead. Ever. And if you don't know this already, the way kind of being raised from the dead works in Toril, it's a common occurrence. All it costs is a good amount of money, about 1,000 gold, probably your life savings for most people. Some people don't even make that much. But the rich and powerful are able to stay alive for quite a long time by resurrecting themselves and paying for the services. This is a common service. Not everybody can do it, but when you are trained far enough, you can, with the right resources, the right amount of money, and the right amount of time on your hands, and the right amount of knowledge, you can bring people back from the dead. But recently, that has stopped entirely. Victims grow thinner and weaker each day, slowly but steadily sliding toward the death they once denied. People are just dying. If they've ever been resurrected before, they die. If they've never been resurrected before and they die, they cannot be brought back. It's impossible. Nothing happens. The magic just isn't there anymore. When they finally succumb to the curse, they cannot be raised, and neither can anyone else, regardless of whether they've received that miracle in the past. Temples and scholars of divine magic are at a loss. People are panicked. It's a curse that could be afflicting the entire region, if not the entire world. Everybody is in a panic, but it's kind of that moment where everybody hears about it. Imagine it kind of like in the same way we deal with nuclear war in our current society, where it's kind of like it's always a possibility, but we don't want to think about it happening, and it could happen very well, but we don't want to think about it. So this is happening, and a lot of people are just kind of like, I'm just not going to die. Everything's going to be fine. Like a lot of people are. It's kind of that calm before the storm kind of moment. There is panic, but people are just still trying to function in their everyday lives. Some people have outright denied it. It's impossible. No, No, I don't believe in a death curse. And other people are just going on with their lives. Some people, I mean, with anything, there could be cults that have grown up around it, all kinds of weird things. But it's only been this month, in recent time, this very month of the year, on the calendar of Harpos. It's probably coming into, I imagine, the summer right now. It's getting quite hot. But that is the current hustle and bustle of the world. Now, each of you have come to Baldur's Gate for a different reason, but you are all going to be connected by one individual, a man by the name of Samuel Dren. Now, you've heard of him as a man. Some of you have heard of him as a dragonborn. Others have heard of him as some other race. But a person named Samuel Dren has called each of you for different reasons. Now, well, not all for the same reason, but there'll be different reasons for each of you to accept this man's invitation. Some of you know more about him than others. So I would like everyone to roll a history check who can right now, other than Kyle. And if you want to roll history, all you gotta do is crack open your character sheet and go to the skill history and click on it, and you will get a roll. And it will have your character. Boom, boom. I got 3. I need 1 more. I'm missing Dustin's.
My camera died, so I was reloading. Right.
Yeah, go ahead and reload it.
Yeah,
and then there you go. Jump in with that good check.
We'll see. Ryok is not very intelligent.
It's all good.
I can find history. Oh no!
Let's see what you got.
Did I get it?
Didn't roll.
Oh no! Come on.
Click it.
No.
There it is. Hey, not bad. Not bad.
As good as Hysteria.
So, what you know about this gentleman and what it is that he's asked of you. First of all, he has asked each of you to meet him at his private residence in a more noble part of the city, of which you will be granted entry into with the paperwork he has provided for you. So if you weren't already well accepted in the noble class, you would be able to get through whatever gate guards, whatever city gates the Flaming Fist, the army of the city, would stop you at. So let's start at the top for Asteria. You know some things about Samuel Dren. You know, one, that he is first and prominent. He used to be a Duke of Baldur's Gate. He is no longer. He was voted out by Sigil Jackbrass very quickly. He lost his position. You don't know, I would say with his History 16, you know that he's survived. That he's still within the city, and that he still somehow holds some sway. He has made a living for himself, though you do not know the exact details. Now, you are a anthropologist. He offers you a chance of a lifetime to visit a land far, far away, far to the south. He doesn't name what the place is exactly. He says that he will reveal that when you meet him. But he is offering you a chance to explore and adventure in a city and a country that is by all means almost adventureless with the way the Flaming Fist is going about their business. A lot of the map is being drawn here. Think of it like the Pirates of the Caribbean movie. There a lot of these areas are no longer. They are secured. So he is offering you the chance of adventure, and to meet him at his private residence. And I imagine you're here, so you accept it.
Yep. A new research thing for my graduate program.
You do. You definitely do. This is going to be your graduate program. Oh, I love it. Okay, moving down. For Valfine, I imagine that at one point you are in that building that you are the library, one of these libraries that you are searching, and I think it's like it seems like some kind of servant, some noble servant notices you, and the way you're going about your research, and he extends to you an invitation to a private meeting, and for a chance to travel from Baldur's Gate to a place that can hold even more knowledge for you. It is an expedition. Leaving this place, which has, I mean, by all means, like, you've been at a lot of these libraries. This is probably one of the last libraries at Baldur's Gate that you haven't already poured through. You might even be coming back to another one. So this is your opportunity to leave. He asks you to meet him at his private residence in a noble quarters, gives you the paperwork you need, and leaves it up to you to accept. It's very, like, in the air, but you're here, you're with us, so you must have said yes. Do you have anything to say about that?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Yeah. Excellent. All right, War. Yeah. War. You would know the most about this individual coming here. You, yeah, I mean, you've been in Baldur's Gate just recently, but I think you just the ability to like suck in all of the culture of a place. I imagine you just have like a fucking rumor mill coming your way, and you're an interesting fella, so people open up to you pretty quickly. You know that Samuel Dren is an ex-Duke of Baldur's Gate. You know that he has been afflicted with some kind of disease, and that he's desperate.
Okay.
You know that he. After being sort of pushed out of dukedom 5 years ago, he went on to become a wizard merchant and became very prominent in that area. And he was doing very well until recently. You know he is almost out of money. These are all things you have been able to just suck in.
Okay.
And no. So you, I imagine, at one point are talking trying to think of your. I mean, you just want to travel and get places. I think you seek him out. You seek out an invitation to this.
Yeah, it could be a thing because one of the things I was thinking is War likes to learn things more firsthand than he likes to read about things. So seeking out, hearing somehow that he's offering this adventure to a new place, possibly with new cultures. You would definitely jump on trying to get there.
Yeah, you jump in. Excellent. I think you probably find some people who are. No, you wouldn't. Yeah, I think you just seek out the right people, and you are able to snag an invitation to this meeting that is being held this very night at his house. And you probably snag it like last minute. You're like, you got to be like rushing to get there for sure. That's awesome. All right, moving down to Raik. With 15. Ryok, sorry, Ryok. I'll get it.
You're fine.
So with a 15, you would know that Samuel Dren is an ex-Duke. You would know that he moved on to become. Well, no, I didn't give that to Asteria. Yeah, you know that he's an ex-Duke of Baldur's Gate. You know that he did move on to become a, you're not sure what, but he still prospers. And he is offering you this chance to travel far, far to the south, to a place that I think you can guess. You might be from this place. Are you from this place?
Yeah, yeah.
You see an opportunity to head home. You see an opportunity to get home, possibly free of charge.
Can he be the one that helped me get my artifact?
Yeah, I love that. That's so much better. Yeah, you're one of your old proprietors or patrons. Would he be a patron, proprietor? What's the word for that?
Patron, like the deity?
No, him.
Oh.
He would be a patron to you or a proprietor to you. I can't remember. I don't know.
He probably introduced me to being a sheriff.
Yeah, he could. Yeah, he's a patron to you, I think, and he did help you find. He helped you find this the relic that you were searching for. Did you want to know him prior?
I imagine I met him very quickly in the city.
Yeah, I think then you were already going to be at this place. You might have been one of the first people he called to it. You probably didn't even have to get the whole invitation of the thing. You might already be here. You were probably one of the first on his mind. So you would already be here at Samuel Dren's estate. Mm-hmm. There's one other person there with you when you arrive. Well, you arrive and this person arrives. He's the first person to arrive after. Kyle, how are we doing on the wizard?
I'm good.
How are you doing, buddy? I think I spared you about 15-20 minutes.
Listen, he's so torn between his elfin lineage and human.
No, don't you
human
dare!
blood. It's deep.
Could we even get a little description of this boy?
Okay, so right now I'm trying to figure out the items and stuff, so I can wait.
Okay, yeah, you totally can.
But I do have a really quick question before I forget.
Please.
Determining my starting gold.
You to determine your starting gold, you need to go to the front page of what's up?
Well, it sounded like people were doing some kind of alternate thing that just.
We're not doing that. We're not doing that.
Cool. Oh, well then I know. I just have to roll 4d4, and I didn't want to do that while we were talking.
Alex was unable to find the legit rules for it, so we're not going to do it.
Roger that.
Which is all good with moi. Yeah, you can just grab that gold, and you could be buying this as we get going. You will have a chance to go shopping in game for sure. Jeez,
nice.
That's a lot of money.
Is that 13 gold or 130 gold?
130.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, okay. I just had to get some information over to Dustin as he was asking me a quick private question. Do we have a description at the very least?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna change. Well, our music will stay just about the same for now. We're not switching it just yet. Well, fuck that. No, we are. We're switching it. Boom. All right. So, we see a room. So you see that this is for each of you. We're gonna kind of go through everybody sort of arriving here individually. We're going to use this to introduce Kyle's character, but I'm going to give this description read from the book as you guys come in here. Dustin, for your character, Raik, it's Raik, right? Riak? Riak. For Riak, you're sort of already in this situation. You're already in this room. So, each of you have been invited to the home of Samuel Dren, an ex-Duke of Baldur's Gate and retired adventurer, now merchant. A uniform attendant leads each of you up a grand staircase to the 3rd floor, and then ushers you into a wood-paneled room with a fireplace, comfortable chairs, and a heavy table bearing goblets and bottles of wine. The darkly paneled walls are hung with maps and sea charts sprawled over several portraits of curious-looking individuals, adventurers perhaps. There's a tiefling there, an old lady, an armored man. Just seems to be some portraits of possibly Samuel's old friends. Racks, shelves, and cabinets hold hundreds more rolled up maps and charts. This room is just filled with crap. So I'm going to show you this image here. This is kind of the scene that's set. You see that seated in an overstuffed chair near the fire is a person. You cannot discern a gender. Oh, did we lose someone?
Yeah, I think we.
I heard everything up until just before the fireplace thing. So.
No problem. So, you see that a person is seated in an overstuffed chair near the fire. You cannot discern a gender because only the person's scaled head emerges from under a heavy blanket draped over the chair, and there is an embroidered hood and a fitted silver veil that conceals the wearer's face. You can tell that they are dragonborn. So as each of you enter, the first person here is Ryok, right?
Yeah.
Is Ryok. Ryok, you are standing next to presumably Samuel Dren in his chair, in his armoire. You know him ever since you have met him within this month. He's a sickly person. The first person to walk in the room, Kyle, what is the name of your character?
Valoria.
Valoria. Alright, Valoria walks into the room first, probably about 5 or 10 minutes before others begin to arrive. The time is probably 8 p.m., night is falling, people are wrapping up for the day in their mercantile works outside. You can hear a few crowds below moving about. What does she look like when she steps into the room? What do we see?
In many ways, she would look very unassuming. If anything, she would look like the least likely person to be an assembly of intrepid adventurers or people. She wears a dusty traveler's cloak that she keeps over her belongings. You can see the lump of a backpack under it.
Okay.
And she carries about herself multiple sacks and bags and things that she keeps on herself. In many ways, she looks like a low fantasy backpacker.
Okay. Excellent. What's so I'm going to give you the same chance I gave the other players. Why is she in Baldur's Gate? What was her initial reason to be in Baldur's Gate? Her reason's different now because she's here. What was her reason for coming here in the first place? It could have been this.
Well, like most of Valoria's life, she hasn't had a reason to be anywhere. She has been a wanderer since she was a little girl and has known the road to be her home. And through one reason or another, she may have wound up in Baldur's Gate because that's just where she happened to be walking. Although she does take the opportunity to relieve people of goods they don't particularly need for her own benefit and the prolonging of her life, because she doesn't really have any goods that serve a function other than just keeping her alive.
I think you steal this invitation.
Yeah, if there was an individual who was blathering about it or leaving it unprotected when I was just rummaging through their things, I could have seen it as an opportunity to acquire more belongings to better myself on the road.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, you steal this invitation. Who's the invitation written out to? And right now, I'm going to ask you, and play along if you want, or if you don't want this, just say so. What's your alias? Who are you pretending to be right now?
I am pretending to be Alexandria Walker.
Alexandria Walker, please make sure you write that down. I love that. It works out perfectly because the note that you read, it details that it's literally Samuel Dren. Right? I've never met you before, but I've heard of your expertise in travel, and I wish to see if you are interested in joining me on an expedition. And I think you snagged this thing, and we can detail more of that later. But I love that you are pretending to be somebody you're not, and I think that's. Do you think that's in character? That in her character?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. She's a wanderer. I mean, this is the riskiest of wandering. It's got to be exciting. I mean, you're stepping into someone else's shoes. What better way to wander?
Well, she's probably realizing she's in over her head at this point, but she's not gonna reveal herself.
Some fucking noble that you stole this from is getting stopped at the gates like, wait, I had my papers here, they were here! That's awesome. Yeah, you step in first, and then we see after a few minutes, stepping through the door, come we see Velfing, a slender athletic. Am I correct in saying that?
Yes.
Kind of definitely look to me the mercenary type. Is that true? You look like that.
Oh, of course, yes.
Yes, the mercenary type. She walks into the room, and you see that scene before you. This cluttered room, and the individuals that are currently here. A Kokra. You could definitely. You are red enough to recognize this race. A bird race native more to the southern plains, and you see someone who doesn't look to be here, but you imagine must hold some kind of skill hidden underneath her robes. Would your character have robes, Kyle? By the way, can you write her name somewhere that I can see it? Maybe in your name in the settings.
My name in the settings?
Yeah, if you go to settings, you can change your display name. It'll be only for this adventure.
Where am I?
In the gear. Very top of my settings. If you don't see it,
gotcha. I'm getting it now.
Yeah. Okay, you're good. Just so I can know her name, but yeah, you would she be wearing robes, right? Is she wizardly type, or does she look? She's a backpacker. No, you said she was a backpacker. No, you're good.
I'll be right back.
We lost you. She's kind of like looking over to the side a little bit, getting a little distracted, I imagine, by some things. So after that, Asteria, you walk into the room and you see these other individuals who have just entered. And I imagine anybody here, you probably feel the most comfortable. You are like, yeah, expedition time. Here we go. You're probably already ready to eye up, like, this is the team kind of thing, right?
Yeah, I first walk into the room and I'm sort of glancing at book titles to see if there's anything I haven't read, but then I notice that Riak and go straight to Riak because I never met one.
Oh man, yeah, you start quizzing Riak. We don't have to get into the details of it, but yeah, you can start quizzing her right now. Yeah, that happens. I think that's the first conversation, the first bit of words that come into the room. The individual in the chair seems to just be kind of resting, though every once in a while you'll see his eyes kind of peer open a little bit, like peek around the room, and then quickly close them. The last person to come into the room is who... If you ever wondered like what you wouldn't expect, this is what you would not expect. You see. Describe to me, Jacob. What is? I know you described war before, but what's it like when he comes into this room?
So we said that he was probably rushing there, getting this invitation last minute. So he's probably out of breath a little bit. Pushes through the door and clumsily is coming in a little bit, and he's a little bit too wide for the door, so has to do the turn sideways and kind of come through a little bit, and then. As he comes in, he's got all of his belongings is pretty much a backpack and some leather straps that are holding his shield and battle axe, and he just picks them all off and like sets them on the ground. And then he's pretty much just a turtle at that point.
Yeah, you just see this humanoid turtle. I think this sparks your interest even more, Asteria. Like you are being surrounded by rare races. Yeah, you probably get attacked head first by this. Not actually attacked, but you get a scholar in your face real quick, and you're used to this.
Yeah,
you're used to this.
And then also
and
being
she draws her journal out of her belt pouch of books.
Yes.
And also being an anthropologist, War's into it. He's just instantly like, okay,
oh man,
what can I learn from you as well?
Nice.
Just like instant friends, like right into it. No, I love that. We lost your cam, Jake. If you want to refresh it. All good. I almost saw you. There we go. Excellent. Yeah. So that happens, and as there's a little bit of discussion around the room, some of you might be quiet in the corner, kind of kind of just observing those who are talking with each other, kind of looking around at like who exactly has been invited to this expedition. And you all know that is why you were brought here.
I imagine I'm like right next to Samuel. I imagine I'm just like making sure he's like.
So before this all happened, Samuel looked to. I think probably about 30 minutes. Samuel has been very excited about this meeting, and he says, "I'm going to sleep in this chair, and wake me up when they come." And he's just like, "But I'm not really gonna be sleeping." And he sits in the chair. That's just a little bit for you. You were supposed to wake him up when everybody got here, and I think you've seen him peek his eyes open a couple times and look in your direction.
I say, Master Dren, they're here.
And you guys hear from under this figure begin to shuffle, and the blanket comes down, and you see this Dragonborn, and you can see that he's wearing noble robes. But let me give you a quick peek at this guy. And here is Samuel Dren. So he is completely veiled. He is. You cannot see his face. He has this sort of silver veil, this silver mask on. One moment. Yes, and he looks to all of you and just says, "Oh." I'm gonna wait for him to come back.
So last I heard, Asteria was walking in, and
yes.
Then I think the wizard. Wizard.
Oh, yeah, the wizard.
Second there.
Or did you hear the part where the turtle came in?
No.
all right. So yeah, we lost you there. We lost you pretty early. Dang. So yeah, everybody, this entire party did manage to meet, and I did introduce you. You did walk in. I believe I did have contact with you, and then I asked if you were sort of athletic. Everybody has arrived. The most unusual the individuals being here are the Akokra, the bird folk in the that was here when you got here, and this turtle man, this literal turtle man that you've probably read about before. This is a very rare race. It is not seen very often in these parts, but he seems very cultured to this place. Like, he doesn't seem I mean, he is out of place, but like his mannerisms aren't. Can you hear me clearly and everything, Josh?
Yeah, I got you.
Beautiful.
Oh, I can actually see you updating Roll20 now. I didn't see any of this stuff before.
Okay, good. I'm glad you can see that.
I didn't even see the room with Samuel in it or anything.
Well, now you do. Beautiful. I just want to get a gist of. So I know the conversation. I got an idea of what the conversation between Asteria and the two rare races are. I think I have that down. Is there any other mingling, or most of you just wait for this mysterious Samuel Dren, this proprietor of yours, this patron, to speak up?
I don't know. War would also be interested in talking to Riak because of wanting to learn things.
Oh, there are refreshments!
Oh no.
Yeah, you point at the refreshments.
Oppose. There are refreshments!
I think you can see Samuel Dren peek his eye open, like, that was supposed to be mine, like my
Sorry! Wake up, Master Dren.
Alright, yeah. I think that's as much conversation that can even happen. Those who haven't talked, you haven't talked yet. You've been waiting for this guy to speak up. And as he's able to sort of rest himself from his chair, he looks up at all of you. You can see these wide eyes from behind this mask, these big glinting eyes, and he's just, "Oh, well, my word, I have not seen the likes of such folk as you in some time. It brings me back. Oh, let me introduce myself. I am Samuel Dren, Once Duke of Baldur's Gate, now merchant of no small repute. Help yourselves to wine, and please, seat yourselves here, my friends. I hope I may call you that. And you see that there is seating available to all of you. You may take a seat if you want. You may partake in the wine if you wish. You do not have to.
War would walk over, take some wine, and then try to look for the biggest chair and see if it would fit his shell. If not, he'll just squat on the floor.
Oh man, yeah. I don't think there is a chair that can fit your shell. I think it just goes. And he points over to like some books that are stacked like in a very brick manner. Like it's pretty large. It's like possibly over there.
Is there a chair that has like a cushion on it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so War would like walk over, grab the cushion off the chair, put it on the ground, and just like Indian style sitting down.
I love that. What we're gonna go down the list. I want to know what everybody does. We'll use Roll20 for this. Asteria, you're next in my camera line. What do you do?
I will probably just take a seat in one of the nicer chairs.
Okay, yeah, you totally can. You fit snugly in one of these chairs, being not a turtle man. And do you partake in the wine?
Oh yeah, I trust he has good taste.
Yeah, he does. This is vintage, baby. Man, yeah. Something also to note: as each of you entered into this house and you were ushered in, this is the only room that holds stuff. Right now, a lot of these other rooms are vacant, and a lot of the other rooms when you entered in here were like there's a few things on the floor, a few pieces of furniture, but most of it is gone. This is the only room that has anything in it right now, and it all seems to be very misshoveled and kind of like thrown about as if somebody robbed the place, but obviously not. So the next person to walk in, or no, you've all walked in. Next person to possibly sit down or take a drink, Alexandria.
Alexandria has been mildly just perusing through the room and just looking at things and trying not to make it obvious that she's looking for things that she can fit into her backpack or belt pouch or anything like that. But when invited to sit down, she's going to acquiesce, not wanting to alienate herself.
Yeah, I think you maybe like the moments that you were given to look around, you might have been annoyed at that. Like, man, this guy's a noble, and most of this stuff, it's just bits and baubles. Like these books, a lot of the good ones you can tell have been taken out of this library for whatever reason, sold or destroyed or whatever. A lot of these leftover ones are more the common ones you would find in Baldur's Gate. But yeah, you sit down and do you partake in drink?
Yes.
Okay. Riak, or Rat. I'm gonna get it.
You got it the right first time.
I got it, Riak. You know Samuel Dren. I mean, you have a chair that was already ready for you. You might have already been drinking the wine.
Yeah, he has a little cup in his hand.
Yeah, he just slams it up. Maybe a little bit of it spills off the sides. I love that. Let me scroll down to here. For Valfine, does she take a seat and partake in the wine and wait for Samuel Dren to kind of explain what's going on here, or does she do something else?
Actually, she doesn't say a whole lot. She kind of walks in and is more. She pours the wine, but lifts the glass and checks it over, looks underneath.
Yes.
Kind of holds it up and looks not really searching for what could kill her, but more intrigued at the finery, I think. She's only read about stuff like this. She hasn't. She's not really from a very rich area, so she's just kind of looking over the table, kind of runs her fingers across the table. She's looking at. I'm assuming there are bookshelves everywhere because there are everything hoarded in this room. So she's just more in awe at everything that's in front of her. Just because of just all of everything. I mean, looking at that room, it's a mess, but it's just piled with books.
It is.
Some of the titles I'm sure she doesn't recognize because they're probably part of his private collection. And
you might be disappointed because you can tell this collection was once amazing. A lot of these books have been sold. You can actually tell, especially being in a library, you know that he's had to sell off this collection. Just by looking at it, the only books that are left are literally, and you know it because the only books that are left are the most common books in Baldur's Gate.
Okay, so on further inspection, she notices some titles on the spines are pretty worn titles.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think you would have expected more, and I think you can just see the spots, and like these shelves are like alphabetized too, and you can tell in the areas where it's just like, no, something interesting would have totally been here. It's gone. It is long gone. Yeah, and this room is just a mess. So as each of you takes a seat, Samuel Dren seems to sort of look at each of you with eyes that you can tell just seem to be admiring you in the moment. And he says, "Oh, yes, yes," and he sits up in his chair and he says, "I'm sure you are all wondering what the expedition is all about. The mission that is at hand, no? I promised you travel, and I promised you adventure. I plan to give you both. But first, I must explain myself in its entirety. Here, let me pour that glass for you." And he begins to pour a glass of wine, I think, for, I would say, who finished their wine first? Who just gobbled it down out of anybody? It was just like, whoa, boom, it's gone. I feel like it would have been war. Would it have been war?
But the cultural, like, picking up things, he would notice sip more.
Okay, who would have slammed it?
It probably would have been me on 2 parts, just because one, she has no idea how nobles work, so
no.
She's gonna assume that she's supposed to drink it, and she's never had it before, so it probably tasted good to her or strange. Either way, she probably drank it way too fast.
Yeah, he's like, let me pour that for you. And Ryok, you probably put a hand to Samuel Dren, but you probably take it back. Like, he doesn't normally move this much. Like, not what you know him. He's kind of delicate a little bit. But I think he talked to you about this meeting before, and he probably specified not to help him.
Okay.
It's probably reflex though.
He just looks worryingly.
Yeah. As he reaches over to pour that wine glass, anybody can actually, it'll take a perception check. I would like a perception check from everybody in the room. It would take, this is a very slight thing. Holy. Oh my god. That's good.
Looks like, Kyle, you have either advantage or disadvantage on at the top of your sheet.
Oh, yeah. We're just missing Dustin, your character.
Yeah, let me get...
Okay, yep. It would make sense, I think, then, Dustin, that your character wouldn't notice this, just because it's something that you're used to. The rest of you see a single scale fall out from under the mask and rattle to the floor from his face as he pours the wine. And he says, "You see, it all starts, and I don't want to talk too much about myself, but it starts with me. You see, I was like you long ago. I was an adventurer, an explorer, if you can believe it. Very strong. I used to do so many things." And he sits back in his chair, and you can see the legit, like, he was very excited as you guys came in, but you can see the weariness hitting this what must be an old Dragonborn. And he says, "You see, I have died before. I was raised from the dead. It was a long story, one I don't want to get into. Those times are behind me. And I've closed that door on the stage, that stage in my life. I imagine most of you have heard the news. If you haven't, you've been living under a rock. The death curse has struck me, and I don't know how much longer I'll last before I perish. Clerics, I've spent hundreds of gold. They cannot help me. They are confused. They don't know what's happening. They may not show it, but if you go in a temple, each of them is more scared than the last. Says, you may not have seen the death curse, you may not believe it, but I want to show you what it is, so that you may believe it now. And he puts a hand towards his mask, and he begins to pull the veil. And you see, as he does, the face of a dragonborn, but his flesh is exposed in many areas. You can see the muscle twitching from beneath, his scales falling apart. A weariness hits his face, and you can see youth in him. This isn't an old dragonborn. But it's like looking at a young person whose face has just been, just torn down. This disease, whether you believe it was real or not, whatever he has now, death curse or no, this is something. He looks horrible. You can see bits of blood. Some scales are still barely hanging on. It's horrific. It is like looking at somebody whose skin is being peeled off. And as he exposes it to you, I don't know how shocked any of you are, or if any of you turn away, but even if you don't, he quickly puts the veil back on, and leans back in his chair. He says, I have spent my entire fortune trying to stop this. He says, I believe you are my last hope. I imagine you did not go unnoticed that my home is empty. I've sold off almost all of my material goods. My home is also gone. You stand in it, but it no longer belongs to me. Sigil Jackbrass owns this house now, but that does not matter. I still have it until midnight. Listen, I know what is causing this. My money did not go spent falsely, he says. My contacts within a special organization, one you may have heard of, but one that keeps quite secret. They're called the Harpers. I have given them much gold, and they have told me that the cause of the death curse is a necromantic artifact known as the Soulmonger. They came about this information after speaking to the most unsavory of creatures, a lich of the country of Thay, far to the east, a red wizard. That is all they were able to discern, for they could not speak to the creature any longer. But according to their sources, we know where the Soulmonger is. It is in a peninsula to the south. It is called Chult. If you have not heard of Chult before, it is a peninsula ringed with mountains and choked with rainforests. Enormous reptiles, savage goblins, and an army of undead prowl its jungles and ruins. Mapping the place has always been nigh impossible, and almost nothing is known about the region's current geography beyond a few miles from the coast. But I have been able to keep one very valuable artifact from my collection. I have a map of Chult. Just its outer rim. It is worth thousands of gold. But I am going to give it to you. I want you to come with me to Chult. It is there that you must find this artifact. If you do this for me, I will give you items. I will give you gold. What you want will be yours. My contacts will be yours. Everything I've built up from my life, I will give to you. If you can save me. And though my house is empty and my fortune spent, know that I still have resources, and they are strong. And don't think for one moment that I wasn't planning to pay you right now. And he ushers over to a table where you see 4 sacks of what you imagine to be coinage that you did not notice before. You swear you didn't notice it before. And it's there. Some of you might even perceive it with a higher perception check. I would say a passive perception check, no roll, that it appears. And he says, within those sacks is the last of my fortune. I will give it to you and this map. I will bring you to Chult, to the only bastion of civilization remaining on that cursed peninsula, Port Nyanzaru. One of the most beautiful cities in all of Toril. He says, I've been there several times before, and I can use the last of my energy, my magic, to take us there, right now. I understand that some of you this may be a bit of a shock, a bit quick, but I don't have much time to spare. The clerics give me mere months to live. I need your help. And you see him sort of hold on to the edge of his chair, and Ryok, you can see he's quite emotional right now. He could be crying underneath it. He says, please help me.
I tell him, I will help you, Master.
I know you're going to help me, Ryok. I'm talking to them. And he points over to them a little bit, but he puts a hand on your shoulder and he says, you have always been a loyal friend to me. And I knew that you were going to help me from the beginning, because I helped you. You owe me one. And he looks at the rest of you and he says, well, what say you? Did Timora deem me lucky this day? Did I choose well in my selection of new adventurers for this expedition? So, at this point, you can respond to Samuel Dren. You can ask him any questions that you guys want to. You can inquire more from him if you wish. And I will give everybody a chance to do that, but I think we should go in an order, so I would just like a quick initiative, because I feel like this implies initiative. Who is the first to act, if any, here? So, toss out that good initiative roll. If you want to roll initiative and make it easy, click on your token, and a little initiative button will show up at the top right-hand corner next to your move tool. Left-hand corner. And that will give you an initiative. If you rolled already, just click it, roll it, and you can edit your roll. Okay. You can edit your number. Yeah, we're going to be using this initiative chart quite a bit.
How do I edit the number?
You click on it. You just click on the number on the thing and you should be able to edit it.
I don't know if it's letting me do that.
Which box is it? The one on the left?
Yep, it's this one on the
okay. That's why I'm trying to click on it in chat.
Yep. So you can just click on your token, and you get a set of macros that pop up in the top left-hand corner, and hit initiative. It's right on the end. If you're having trouble finding the button, just click and unclick your token a few times, and you will notice where it is. You able to find it? Okay.
Yeah, I found it.
Okay, I don't see you on the list. Is the problem?
Oh, maybe I have to re-roll.
You have to be close. You have to stay clicking on your token, obviously, and then hit initiative. Let me see. It said I got a 9. A 9, yeah. Where are you? I don't see you.
I refreshed because I couldn't see you guys.
Okay, I'm gonna put you on there and just type in a 9. All right, who are we missing from this list? Who are we missing? No, we got Valfine, we got Wart. Oh, Alexandria. I will put you on here. So we don't have a token for you. Alexandria. I will add you here. You got a 16.1. Cool. And then I can just order it like this. Okay. Asteria, you were the first to act. Do you do you do if anything? Are you on board for this all the way? Do you just say yes to Samuel? Do you have any questions for him?
I am on board all the way and super happy that I don't have to make a stupidly long trek to wherever I'm going.
You don't! Samuel Dren is offering the last of his magic. Some of you know that he is a wizard, but after explaining that he has the magic to teleport, some of you can just assume it. He will be able to teleport you guys instantly. So, you're just on board. You're all the way.
Yep.
Alright. Valfine, what about you?
She stops and thinks a moment, and then slowly nods.
Is there a point where she looks over to the bag of gold and slowly nods, or no, is she not that type of rogue?
I'm sure the gold has something to do with it, yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if not to buy another mountain of books.
Oh hell yeah, that's perfect. All right, so yeah, you agree as well. You put your hand in. I think at this point, yeah, Samuel Dren has kind of like just sort of splayed out the map and put his hand on the map, kind of signifying like who's in and who's not. And those who are in, you just put your hand on the map of Chult, and he's offering you the chance to leave too. I imagine since you built your character, you're not going to leave. But I just want to know if you have any questions here. I know you're going to say yes.
Hilarious.
I didn't sign up for this, man.
But yeah, I want to give you a chance if you have anything to ask Samuel, or if you're just like, yeah, sure, all in. But if you have any questions or any discussion you want to have with him, or anyone else rather, before accepting this mission. So Alexandria, you're next on this initiative.
Oh, Alexandria?
Yeah, is it Alexandria or what's the name?
Alexandria.
Yeah, Alexandria, it's you.
She's just gonna put her hand on the map. She doesn't want to talk much because she's afraid she'll expose herself.
That's so true. Yeah, this is just a. I think he looks at you, and I think as you do, because like you stole an invitation that was directly named probably to somebody really important, and he just kind of like, it's like, I'm very happy you will be coming. I had hoped for sure you. He doesn't expect a response, but he like looks at you. He just really excited that you've accepted.
So I'm wondering something.
Yeah.
If Alexandria is a noble, he probably knows the noble that he invited.
Ooh, he doesn't. He wrote in the. Oh, did you want him to though?
Oh, I don't know. If he didn't, that's fine.
No. I just didn't want. If you're crafting a story right now, that's fine. Go for it. What do you got?
Well, you mentioned he was a wizard, right?
Yeah, he's a wizard.
Well, Valoria's also a wizard, so maybe he knows that she is not the person that he invited. Like, he turns to her and says, "So, Alexandria, are you ready to go?" And he looks her in the eyes and knows absolutely that's not Alexandria. But because he can sense that wizardness about her, maybe he sees, like, his younger self in her or something.
Fuck yeah! that's totally Samuel Dren. I think he will look, and it's the first time he's sort of looked at you, and I think he says, so, are you ready, Alexandra? And he'll give you like a little wink.
Yeah, I imagine she was holding her hand back for a little bit, but when he said that, she's like, oh, shit, he knows. All right, and she puts her hand on the map, like, quickly, nervously.
Whew. Yeah. What is this Asteria mindly looks up to ceiling, seeing what her guy...
It's her... she has her packed thing.
Anna, what is it?
Oh, it's her, it's a Deva.
It's a Deva.
That's trying to push her in this direction, she can tell now.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, yeah, no, yeah, it's literally like pointing at the map. Totally. I love that. War, what do you do?
I was just gonna see if Dustin needed to tie break with me, but...
No, because you got 9.13, so...
Right. Doesn't matter.
Oh, okay.
So War, like, he stands up, and for the first time, he kind of extends his neck upwards, because he's, like, had his little, like, head, down, kind of resting on his turtle shell. He extends his head upwards and, kind of cocks it to the side curiously and says, "You were a merchant, correct?"
He says, yes, I was a very prominent one. I made my living selling services of my Crimson Order, but no longer.
So, once this is done, could I ask that I use some of your contacts in order to travel the world more?
And he says, my friend, if you join in this expedition, I will ensure that the very lords of Baldur's Gate and Waterdeep and Neverwinter know your name, and that you would be able to get meetings with them if you so wished.
He kind of nods and he says, my mind just blanked, sorry.
No, you're good.
Then, even though you did not ask for me, and I sought you out, I will definitely join you. And he reaches his hand out for the map.
And he says, yes, bless the adventurer who comes on his own. And, is Ryok already got her hand on the table, or he probably looks to you and he just says, well, do you wish to return home? Right, Ryok?
Yes. I need to bring the artifact back to my people.
Yes, you do. But you also, your debt to me comes first. You wouldn't have that if it wasn't for me.
I know. Yes.
If you manage to get it on the way, that's fine. You might want to check in with your people to see if they have the soul. No, don't just forget about it. He says, and do you put your hand on the map?
Yes, I do. I put my little feathery wing claw on the map.
And he goes, well, here we are. Well, you're going to be getting to know each other. I envy you. Strangers going on a marvelous quest to an unknown land. You're going to have to become fast friends if you wish to survive, let me tell you that. But let me also tell you, if you do, the lost kingdom of Chult holds in it riches beyond your imagining. You very well might not need me when you return. Says, but that is for the future to hold. For now, we go. And he holds a hand out to everyone, and it ushers to link hands. The spell will not work otherwise. as you grab each other's hands, comfortably or uncomfortably, however you must.
Turtle hands.
What'd you say? Turtle hands. Yeah, you get some clammy turtle hands. You guys begin to feel the room darken around you. It begins to almost like night is hitting at first faster than it was coming originally, and then all the candles begin to go out in the room, and it darkens. And for each of you, and the camera turns and points down at the map of Chult, and it begins to just sort of get closer and closer and closer as it does, we see a flash hit from the room and just sort of spread its way along this map as the camera rests on Chult. And I think it's at that moment that we see it kind of go from being a map to becoming the real and actual continent, the peninsula of Chult. And it's at this point I'm going to show you guys the player's map of Chult. It's going to take you a second to load. And it's going to play some music that I don't want it to.
Oh, crap.
So, this is the map of Chult. Might take a little while to load for some of you, but when it does, you'll see it. This is the map that we are going to be using for this entire adventure. We are going to be moving hex to hex to hex to hex. And this is, you're going to be seeing a lot of this map. Each hex is 10 miles. And we will get into travel when we get there. But I just wanted you guys to take a peek at the map that you would have gotten a look at. You can see a lot of it has been discovered, has been found by this. This is an extremely rare map. A lot of it has been found. There are even some locations that are visible on the map and even marked on the map that you can see. One such one that you would know, now that I know about your characters a little bit more, and one that would have been here. Oh no, you guys can see the Mistcliff Mountains. No, you're good. That's where you're from. They're Dustin. If you didn't know, if you wanted to know.
I'm trying to I'll zoom out more.
Yeah, zoom out. Definitely zoom out. I'm pinging. Oh wait. Oh no, I'm not pinging. Here we go. Do you see this?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, that's the Mistcliff Mountains. So, yeah, this is the map. You're going to be seeing a lot of this, but not just right now. Not right now. Right now, things are a little bit different for you guys. I don't know how many of you have ever gone through a teleportation spell of this magnitude, but it is like being trapped in a dark room. But it's weird. It's very open and vast. It's almost peaceful. You can sort of just hear yourself breathing, and it's almost like mixing with an ambient wind that you are feeling kind of brush across your face. When you open your eyes, you just see darkness. You can see yourself, your hands, and only the hands of the people who you've grasped. You can't see any other part of them, just sort of their hands, and then it kind of just shades off into darkness. And it is within probably just a few moments that darkness breaks, and you guys open up into a completely different scene. Let me grab this real quick, because we are getting in. So, as that darkness hits you and this light breaks across your face, I imagine some of you are maybe even squinting a little bit, because it's just so bright in comparison to the city of Baldur's Gate and the night that you were just in, because you are walking right into day. Let me get this harbor music going. You appear, and everyone can see this map, right?
Mm-hmm.
You appear in a tropical city under a blazing sun. The familiar sounds of a harbor, creaking ropes, slapping waves, heavy barrels rolling across cobblestones mingle with voices shouting and cursing in an unfamiliar language filled with clicks, inhalations, and sing-songy words that make it sound almost musical. The aroma, you breathe it in, of unfamiliar spices and tropical fruit mixes with the wharfside smells of fish, fresh fish, tar, and canvas, stretched canvas. Beyond that, you see the city of Port Nyanzaru. It is an explosion of color, almost completely contrast to Baldur's Gate. Buildings are painted in bright shades of blue, green, orange, and salmon pink, or their walls are adorned with murals portraying giant reptiles and mythical heroes. Every building sports baskets and clay urns of colorful flowers or is draped in leafy, flowering vines. You hear minstrels, and you see them in bright-colored clothing, adorned with feathers and shells. They're performing on street corners. Multicolored pennants and sun awnings flutter atop the city walls. A crowd of children, dressed in feathered hats and capes, races right past you, all of you. They're squealing in delighted terror as a street performer costumed as a big-toothed lizard stomps and roars behind them. The whole city seems to be bustling, sweating, laughing, swearing, and singing all at the same time. The other thing that you notice is the weather here is quite different. A heat comes over you. It's like 95 degrees right now. So if anybody's wearing like heavy armor or anything, you're feeling the sweat. It is a complete atmosphere change. The humidity increases. The heat is smoldering. Everybody you see is wearing these very light clothing. Let me give you a picture of what some of these Chultans look like. These people of Port Nyanzaru. Your first handout. You can pop that open. Everyone should see it, and you can make it bigger if you want to kind of look at the picture of these individuals. You see that a lot of them are of a very dark skin. They are wearing very light, very colorful clothing, and they are very expressive. They are speaking mostly in a language you do not understand, but you hear bits of common here and there. I want to get sort of first reactions from everybody on. You've just been ripped out of Baldur's Gate and thrown into this fantastic place.
Ed,
Yes.
I'm home. I'm no longer in a no-fly zone. I just fly.
Yeah. You probably pick up about 30 feet off the ground, and I think Samuel Dren just, oh, magnificent, as he sees you do that. And what are the rest of you doing? Starting with, I'm going to do left to right, Jacob, for War. What's War doing?
With the heat, like, he has to expand a little bit so it's less stuffy everywhere, so he's standing up a little bit straighter and everything to stave off some of the heat, but he's looking around, kind of, the half-cocked sideways lizard look everywhere, taking in all of this new culture that he's never seen before.
Yeah, this is like an explosion right in your face. It's hard not to smile a little bit. Like this is like a city that's alive. All right, Asteria, what about you?
Oh, she has her journal out almost instantly and is sketching things and taking notes and.
Yeah, just to give you guys a little bit of where you're around, you are right next to a bustling harbor, and you should be able to see my arrows on here. You're right next to a bustling harbor. You see many large ships coming in and out. You see that the city itself has it's nested on these hills, these different sections. I'll give a ping. It's nested on these 4 hills. One here, one back here. And one here, and another here. Basically, anywhere you see these sort of walls come out is a hill, and it's just this very like there are multiple levels, multiple tiers to this city. The first thing you would notice, any of you, is that the highest hill you see a very large temple. Its entire roof is made what you can only assume to be completely gold, and it shines like a beacon, like the sun itself, off of the roof of this building. Moving over to Alexandria, what's Alexandria doing? Or what's the first initial thing, or what she look like? Yeah.
Well, what is the Baldur's Gate? What is the temperature like out there?
It was probably it was summer. You were getting probably 70. it's like Michigan warm. This is like jungle warm. You just got thrown into so much humidity. It's so hot.
Well, gosh, Alexandria has been used to the gray walkings of the roads of Faerun for so long that this is an overexposure of senses for her. So the first thing she's going to do is let go of these people's hands and start just smiling and walking around, looking at all the sights and enjoying the new sensation of a new place.
It is exciting. It can't help but be excited. Excellent. I know you said a little bit, Dustin, but give me a little bit more. You fly up, Ryak. It's Ryak?
Yeah. You got it.
Yep. Okay, it's Ryak. You fly up, and I think you get the most fantastic view out of anybody. You fly up, and you see the sun. It's getting close. It's getting close to setting, but it's still hanging in the western side of the sunset in the west or east. Guys, help me out.
What?
The east.
The east.
Rises in the east, that's in the west.
Rises in the east. That's in the west. You see it setting in the west, but you get this beautiful shot of Port Nyanzaru. You can see it all the way around, and the jungle beyond, leading to the south. You can see the two big rivers, the lifeblood of this port. These two big rivers snaking into the jungles out of this massive bay that Port Nyanzaru sits in front of. And you get this great scene, and I imagine it's just sort of like a camera shot from behind you as your wings fluoro, and we look at your home. I mean, you're home again.
Yeah, I'm home. I can't imagine it's almost impossible to never have not been in this city, living on the Misty Mountains.
Yeah.
Kind of flying down, up and down here.
Port Nyanzaru is a sight to behold. Valfine, what about you?
Sorry about that.
No, you're good. What's Valfine looking like?
So, the sudden blast of jungle heat, she was all wrapped up in a cloak. She's used to hiding in a cold cellar sort of thing, pouring over books. So she's like out of breath, like panting. She's like sweat pouring down her face. So she just kind of pulls the hood back and kind of lets it drape off her shoulders a little bit. So she,
you can see her
feeling the climate.
I think that might
turns around.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
No, you were just about to say something. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying she's just like overheating right now because she's usually wrapped up in like I said, a cold basement or something, looking at books by candlelight. So the bright light and the sudden like burst of heat, she's just kind of like shedding her cloak, but she reaches back and opens up her pack, and her eyes are wide because of the scenery. So she pulls out this tome she has of pictures of various continents and geographies, and she's kind of holding up the book, sort of angled at the landscape and some of the buildings, just kind of compared to what she's
so read. The book that
she's not usually, she hasn't traveled more than to libraries or monasteries or sanctuaries searching for books, or being in the place that she's seen in the book before. It is kind of it's magical to her, sort of, not like overwhelmingly so, but it's that's really cool.
Oh, I get you. I think as you pull out that book to kind of compare scenery, you see a much different Port Nyanzaru. Like you might even get a picture of it, like a quick sketch in one of these books. But you have a pre-Spell Plague book, and the Spell Plague, I'm not going to get into it, was probably one of the worst natural disasters to happen recently. A lot of shit got fucked up. If you want your character to know more about it, we can roll about it later. But yeah, you have a pre-Spell Plague book of Port Nyanzaru. It's a little bit of a different place, still fantastic, but like some of the I think even you would have had a chance to compare and contrast the map that was given to you versus what you have. I will say right now, what you have is outdated information. It's definitely outdated, but it is. I think that's interesting. I like that you pull that out. It won't be of a great use to you, but I like that. It's good flair. So, as each of you are going through this, I think Samuel Dren notices everybody, and as Ryok lands back down, I imagine quite quickly to rejoin her friends, he says, "Oh, the looks on your faces! No doubt that for most of you, this is your first time in Port Nyanzaru. In the many places I have walked in these realms, few are as fantastic or as dangerous as Port Nyanzaru can be. Oh, it brings me back, looking at you." And he says, "These docks!" And he points over here. He's like, I've arrived in ships at these docks. Oh, the memories. He says, but that is the past. That's not why we're here. Not for me to relive my stolen youth. And he says, "Now, I do not want to be a burden upon you. You have each received my gold." Oh, wait, no, I forgot to give it to you. At which point, he kind of like holds out his hands and the bags appear. So I almost left these in Baldur's Gate. Let that bastard jackass, Jack Brass, get it from me. It's the last penny he ever takes from me. And he just, as he mumbles about hating Sigil Jack Brass, he hands each of you a hefty bag of money. I would like you guys to write in some sweet cash. Everybody gets 40 gold, and you can find this right in your character sheet, bottom middle in your equipment. Everyone gets 40 gold. Add it to what you have now if you have gold. 50 silver. And the heft of the weight is 500 copper pieces. He says, "I had it exchanged for small change. That way you can purchase things here without any problems. You will find that there are many classes here, as there are in Baldur's Gate. So, not everyone is going to be asking for gold pieces. This isn't the noble quarter. Baldur's Gate."
How much silver?
50. 50 silver and 500 copper pieces. And he says, "Now, the question, the days here go by, well, about the same as normal, but for me they always seem faster the closer I get to death." And he says, "I do not wish to be a burden upon you. I will not be joining you on your adventure. I'm sure you already figured that much. I am incapable." He says, "But I have I have arranged rooms for you at some local inns if you are interested." He says, "Where I am going to stay is with an old friend of mine, one who I admire very much. His name is Wakonga Otomu. He is one of the 7 merchant princes of Port Nyanzaru." Now you're going to want to write this down, because you want to know your way through this place. I can impart to you some of my knowledge. He says, "There are 7 merchant princes that rule Port Nyanzaru. Now, the place used to be owned by another country by the name of Am, far to the east of Baldur's Gate. They recently won their independence within the last 10 years or so. It is the merchant princes who rule now, and it is... the people, well, they love the way this place is run. So if you want to get anything done or buy anything, you're doing it through the merchant princes." And he pokes at one of your shoulders. I imagine maybe who looks the sketchiest? Who looks the sketchiest out of this group? Somebody shout out. Who? Valfine? Yeah. Valfine? Yeah, he pokes you. It's like, just make sure you don't get yourself into trouble. The punishment for stealing here is not good. They throw you into a pit and the dinosaurs chase after you. You don't want that.
It's not literal.
What did you say?
It's not literal.
Did you say, is that neutral?
Literal.
Literal. And he says, yes. And trust me,
good Lord.
I've seen some friends make it out and some not. don't go about stealing things unless you're damn good at it.
I'm chewing on a piece of copper because again, money really has no bearing on me.
He smacks your hand. He says, "Stop it! That's for spending, not for eating."
It's like
he says, "No, that
Nyanzaru is not fun. Not fun. I want probably as you see as he's trailing off and saying Nyanzaru is not fun. He sees like maybe a colorful red velvet sash on a rack, and he just slowly walking towards it, and he starts he has to stop himself, like a mental what?
Yeah, you stop yourself the minute you see the guards in this place. The guards in this place are big, hulking, armored gladiators. They look fucking huge. A couple of them just sort of walk by, and they don't even take notice to you, but I think the minute you see them, you turn quickly around back to the party. And Samuel says, "Oh, now let me think. Yes, I'm going to make sure I've prepared you. I'll be staying with Wakonga Nomu. Don't steal anything. The inns, that's right." And then before he can even say, he goes, "So the first is, oh, good Lord!" And he just looks over, and he points behind you, says, "The dinosaur races! Oh, I did so hope that they would be having them this week. Oh, God, oh." And he looks over, and you can see that these people, these Chultans, are setting up what looks to be these sort of barriers and areas. He's like, "Oh, it is a must-see. Please, it will probably be tomorrow, but I may be dying. But this is worth it. You must see the dinosaur races. They are stupendous." And he's just kind of looking over, and he's just you can see him reminiscing of an old memory, and he just goes, "Oh, yes. So, the inns that I have stayed for you, there is a very raucous inn called the Thundering Lizard. It is over in the Red Bazaar on the eastern side of the city." And he talks this fast, so if you can't write this down, you might have to ask him again. And he says, the Thundering Lizard, it's your run-of-the-mill bar if you're looking for a good time, good drink, and a rowdy ruckus of folk. That's where you want to go. There are rooms that are secured for you there if you wish to go there, and there's also Kaya's House of Repose if you're not looking for more of a quiet time. This is alternatively, if you're interested, I can introduce you to my friend Wakonga. It's never a bad thing to have a merchant prince be your friend. Says, there's a chance he owes me a favor, and he will allow me to stay with him for the foreseeable future of my life, but he did owe me a big favor. I may be able to secure you one night in his mansion, but that might not be up your alley. I imagine the expedition is in your minds. No time for relaxing, but it's up to you." And he says, "You can find anything." Oh, it's a trap! This whole thing is a trap! Oh no! If you guys look at Discord, fucking Josh. Oh, that's on the money. On the money. He says, "You can find anything in Port Nyanzaru. If you want it, it is here." He says, the Grand Souk, which is located on the southern side of the city. You can't miss it. It's right past the warehouse district. You're gonna need a guide. I'm getting ahead of myself, but... So, what will it be? Will you be coming with me to Wakonga Nomu's villa? Or will you... Is this where we part ways? You can always come back to talk to me if you wish. Maybe it would be best if you at least knew where his villa was. You could drop me off, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'll go with him.
Alright.
Yes.
Alright, if you want to, guys, you can pull your tokens onto this. Kyle, I know you don't have one. We'll get you one in the future. You can pull your tokens off the screen and onto the actual city, which I would much appreciate. over by where Samuel Dren is, over by where I'm pinging.
You get them already on, or are we actually adding them?
You're adding them. You will always be adding them. Think of it like actually taking a piece and setting it there for me. So yeah, you can just pop them right on here.
How do I do that again?
You just go to your journal where your character sheet is and just hover over it, drag it. Just drag it right onto the map.
Okay.
I see. Yeah. You guys are all the way over there just to represent where you are. War seems for it. Do all of you accompany him? Or do some of you go to some different places? I imagine he's given you thorough directions that I'm not going to roleplay out entirely, where these 2 inns are. So you guys have some quick choices. There's going to be a lot of choices to make, but the first one we're going to make, and probably the last one of this session, is where you guys want to... What inn do you guys want to stay at? The Thundering Lizard, or Kaya's House of Repose, and it's a diplomatic vote. You can split if you want to, if you feel angry about it. But Samuel does not suggest it. He says, "Staying together is your best chance of making it anywhere here. Says the jungle is dangerous. Port Nyanzaru, not as dangerous, but still dangerous in some ways. He says best to stay together." So if you guys want to roleplay it out or just throw your vote into chat, that works either way.
Do we know anything about either of these places?
Yeah, the Thundering Lizard, he explained, was a very sort of raucous bar. He explained that's about all he explained, that it was a raucous bar. They're both located near the Red Bazaar and are hard to miss. The Thundering Lizard is raucous, and Kaya's House of Repose is much quieter. He can tell you that Kaya's House of Repose, because he's only paying for like maybe the first night for you. If you stay longer in Port Nyanzaru for any reason, Kaya's House of Repose is 1 gold a night, and the Thundering Lizard's 5 silver pieces. He also, yeah. What do you guys think?
Riak looks. What is the House of Repose?
He looks and I think he goes and says, "Oh yes, Kaya's House of Repose. It is an inn located right almost at the top of Mount Sabasa," and he points over towards that golden shimmering roof. He says, "Just on the other side of the Hall of Gold. That's the temple to Joaquin, the god of commerce. They love him here."
He's like, why is it so expensive? 5 gold. 5?
1 gold. I said 1 gold piece. And this is 1 gold piece a night.
He's holding his bag like he's like, ooh.
He's like, "I have paid for your first room in advance. I have many contacts here." He says, "Kaya's House of Repose, you will find yourself a firm or soft bed, your choice. Luxurious foods. You're quiet. You're peace and quiet, really. You will get away from the raucous of the city. There are a few baths so that you can partake in. The Thundering Lizard, on the other hand, it's a dive bar. I'm not going to explain it any other way." He says, "You will meet some people there, let me tell you. But it is a rough and tumble time. Back in my day, I knocked a couple of heads myself." Asterium. Oh no, that's from before. Okay, so yeah, what do you guys think? You can go as a party or split up, though it's ill-advised. Also, Wakanga, he could, as an alternative, he could secure you a room with Wakanga, possibly for tonight, if he does a good persuasion check. Because he's making one. He's a charismatic guy. He might be able to secure you a night there, which maybe all you need is a night. But yeah, what would you guys like to do? If you want to put a vote in chat, you can.
War is interested in meeting Wakanga.
Yes.
But also, the backup plan would be Thundering Lizard for him.
Thundering Lizard for you, okay.
I agree with that, because Thundering Lizard seems like it has the most interesting culture around here.
Yeah, it does.
Yep.
It definitely does.
Culture.
Ryak has no opinion. Ryak informs you that he will just sleep in a tree.
What was Alexandria saying?
He's a bird.
It would be nice to say somewhere a little above the normal, especially if it's for free.
Yeah, I think he'll shake his head as that. What about Valfine?
No, I guess she's neutral as well. Probably just going along with the party, taking in the city. So
Taken in the city. Okay, so Thundering Lizard seems to be the only ones I heard. So Thundering Lizard is a backup, possibly Wakanga first. So we have 4 minutes left, but I want to describe to you guys as you enter into the merchants ward of the city, and the music takes a little shift and change. You are moving up onto what he describes as Temple Hill. And he says, yes, walled off from other parts of the city. Port Nyanzaru is a city of walls inside walls. Something you notice as you step up, there's a bit of a guard here, but as they see Samuel Dren, they kind of nod, and you guys are able to enter into Temple Hill. You pass by these massive. Let me get a quick book description real quick, because these are just solid descriptions. The ground floor of most of these buildings is made of stucco-covered stone, and they have tiny windows to keep out the heat at street level. The upper floors are just open. A lot of them have open windows, big open windows that have bamboo or thatch walls with enormous windows to set in the breeze under the broad thatched or tiled eaves. All buildings are richly decorated with paint, ivy, vivid colors. Some are painted in symmetrical geometric patterns of straight lines and sharp angles, while others portray animals, monsters, landscapes, and heroes in a stylized manner unique only, you imagine, to this place, to Chult. Where space permits, buildings traditionally include a walled yard or garden. These places there's a lot of vegetation as you pass by. Another thing you notice, there are cisterns on top of each house. Rainwater seems to be quickly collected, and as I say that, it begins raining. Immediately, rain begins to fall on the party. Let me see if I have some good light rain. No, not creepy rain. Yeah. You can barely hear it, but there's a little bit of rain in the back. It begins raining immediately, and he kind of you guys kind of try to hustle your way through, and he says, yes, rain happens here all the time, on and off. Some days it rains all day, and others it's, you can see he's tired out, but he's excited. He's taking all this old man's energy. This is his own little mini adventure to Wakanga's palace. You pass by a temple, a temple that looks to be, I imagine. You see that it seems to have like decorative eyes next to it. This temple here, and if any of you ask, he points out, he says, the Temple of Savros, a god of fortune telling. He says, come. He says, I imagine they're probably closing now. And he passes by, and you guys run across this stone stairs onto what he explains to be Throne Hill. And the rain stops before you can even get there. You guys are all drenched. And he says, and as he's wiping off the rain, he's just figures. Port Nyanzaru, always drenching you and never gets a chance. He says, this is our stop. And you guys turn over to see a pretty magnificent villa, multi-tiered. There are ferns and foliage everywhere, all over the place, and you can see that there's sort of pillars that sit in front that support a balcony up top on this beautiful home. These big, wide open windows on the upper stair. There's torchlight everywhere. And as you approach, you see that the area is it is walled in, and there's another set of guards. And Samuel will step in. He'll look. You guys are like going up some steps. It is this villa right here. And you guys are going up some steps, and there's some guard there as well. You see those same sort of muscular, almost gladiatorial-looking guards. And he looks, he says, "Oh, yes," and they seem to like be almost like not as surprised as you expect. They probably were expecting him to be here. Like he has sent word. He has prepared this whole expedition beforehand, and he says, I have arrived. And then they look over, and they still have those like gladiatorial helms on. Like they're still wearing their gladiatory gear. And they look over, and they you can hear one mumble out from under in a dialect maybe you do not understand. Or a language you don't understand, and he responds back in the same one, and it's that Chultan language, that native Chultan language, and they seem to be like pointing at all of you, looking suspicious, and he just goes, and he just starts talking in the language to them, and it takes a minute, and he just looks, he says, "You all do a very good job of looking like thieves," they say, "but I have told them that you are with me, everything is fine. They're going to go get Wakonga, so we'll have to wait here for a moment." And you wait for maybe like a minute or two before you see, and this is the last thing we're going to do in the adventure, we are calling it here, you see an individual step out from behind the gate. I think the gate opens up, and he's like you hear like a commanding voice from the other side of the gate in Chultan, like shouting some kind of order to open the gates. Like, what is this? And these heavily clad gladiatorial guards open the door, and you see this individual walk down a set of stone steps leading from his palace, his home behind him. He is wearing this lightly colored clothing. The colors are very fantastic. It almost looks rainbow-like as it reflects off what's left of the sun. It's getting darker. And you see him as he makes his way down. He does kind of like a sidestep, a very, very dainty, but like he makes his way down, and there's like a trail of servants behind him. They are either very young or very old, male and female. And he makes his way down, and he goes, "Is that you?" And he looks and says, "Samuel Dren, you son of a bitch. You have made it. Glad to have you." And he looks, and he just sort of opens up his robe a little bit, and you can see that he probably isn't wearing a whole lot of clothes under there, and like, and he kind of takes a low bow, and he just says, "I am happy to have you here in my home." And that's where we're going to call it. I think right as he turns to you and says, "And who is this? The latest expedition, I imagine." And as he says "latest," I think Samuel goes, "That's right, I forgot to mention. There were people before you." And that's where we're gonna call it for the night. Guys, thank you so much for coming with me on this adventure.
Oh, Samuel Dren.
welcome to Port Nyanzaru, guys.
Oh, this is gonna be fun.
Yeah, it is, because after next episode, I am gonna be letting you loose in this place to find your way. There are gonna be many things that you have to do. The first being, you guys need a motherfucking guide, because you ain't getting through this jungle unless you really trust in Ryak over here. But it should be a good time, guys. I think our next session, I'm gonna post some times in the Facebook and link you guys over in Discord. We're gonna be trying for bi-weekly starting next month, and I'm gonna see which weeks of February will well, hopefully at least 2 weeks will work for you guys. And the day, I'm going to put all the days up there because we might be able to interchange it out and figure it out depending on what we do. All right, guys. God, thank you so much. I'd invite you to stay after if you want. I want to help Kyle get